Shalom, call hello, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. NBC News, China has done human testing to create biologically enhanced super soldiers, says top U.S. official. U.S. intelligence agencies didn't immediately respond to requests for comment about whether China seeks super soldiers like those in such films as Captain America. The U.S. intelligence shows that China has conducted human testing on members of the People's Liberation Army in hope of developing biologically enhanced capabilities, or developing soldiers with biologically enhanced capabilities, the top U.S. intelligence official said Friday. Ratcliffe, the director of national intelligence, included the explosive claim in a long Wall Street Journal op-ed in which he made the case that China poses the preeminent national security threat to the U.S. There are no ethical boundaries to Beijing's pursuit of power, wrote Ratcliffe, a Republican former member of Congress from Texas. His office and the CIA did not immediately respond to requests to elaborate on the notion that China sought to create super soldiers of the sort depicted in Hollywood films like Captain America, Bloodshot, and Universal Soldier. It says, while the potential leveraging of CRISPR to increase human capabilities on the future battlefield remains only a hypothetical possibility at the present, there are indications that the Chinese military researchers are starting to explore its potential, wrote the scholars Elsa Kania, an expert on Chinese defense technology at the Center for New American Security, and Wilson Vorndick, a consultant on China matters and former Navy officer. It says Vorndick said in a phone interview that he is less concerned about the battlefield advantage such research might provide than he is about the consequences of tampering with human genes. When we start playing around with genetic organisms, there could be unforeseen consequences, he said. Representatives of the Chinese government did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Yeah, so they playing around with they're trying to make like super soldiers, as it says right here in Captain America. And, a lot of times they don't release stuff, or the general public doesn't know about stuff. But, they got this type of technology on the left-hand side. But I wanted to grab a couple precepts. All right, so this is Psalm 60:8. It says, Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. So Moab pretty much gets stuff going. They lead in technology, and since Esau has great pride, as we got in Obadiah 1 and 3. Obadiah 1 and 3, it says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, which is his mind, who shall bring me down to the ground? So, China's doing all this stuff, and they the head of technology. So, since, Esau has great pride, he's not going to be too far behind Moab, who is China. And, they experiment with this type of stuff. So, again, that the U.S. is going to do stuff like that. And that's going to be part of that great wrath, as we got in Revelation 12. All right, so this is Isaiah 59:19. It says, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west." Over here in Babylon the Great. This is the Western Hemisphere, known as the Western Hemisphere. It says, "In his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood." And who is the enemy? I think it's Psalms 83. It says this is Psalms 83:2. I'm gonna start at verse 2. It says, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, which is great confusion." It says, "And they that hate thee have lifted up the head, chiefly Esau, Edom." It says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones, who are the Israelites." It says, "They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes." So, Jabal, Amnon, Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. So all these nations, are in on breaking us up as a nation. So, chiefly Edom and Moab, it says when the enemy shall come in like a flood, that they consist of a part of the enemy. It says the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And the standard goes into a way to flee. The Lord is going to lift up a standard for his men to flee. All right, and this is Revelation 12. It says, I'm going to start at verse 4. This Revelation 12:4 says, "And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born." And that's talking about the Messiah, Hamashiach Yahushua. King Herod, he tried to, he heard that a savior was going to be born for the nation of Israel. So he tried to, kill off Hamashiach. It says, "And she brought forth a man child," who was Hamashiach Yahushua, says, "who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron." And, you can cross-reference that with, let me see. Revelation 2:27 says, "He shall rule them with a rod of iron. They shall be dashed to pieces like the potter's vessels. I also have received from my father." So it's the Messiah, Mashiach. It says, let me see. "Who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto Yahweh and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of Yahweh, that they should feed her 3,260 days. And there was a war in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels." And that dragon is talking about, let's go down to it. It says, "And prevailed not." So the dragon didn't win. It says, "Neither was there a place found any more in heaven. And that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent. And you go into serpent, is basically a deceitful man called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. And he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." It's talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. You go into that word devil, it's basically slanderer. And you go into slanderer and accuser. Slanderer and accuser You can go back to Psalms. The accuser of our brethren. I can't remember which what Psalms it is, but it's talking about Esau, Edom, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, who was Esau, Edom. It says, which accused them before our power day and night, all the time. Ever since, this man has had us in any type of captivity. It says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. So that's striving. Some men in this faith are going to be martyrs, and they're going to strive for the truth until death. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the sea, or of the earth, and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath a short. Salakia, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So, we see them making super soldiers, and Moab is starting that off, but Edom is going to be into that too. And they're doing all this stuff because, again, they know they got a short time. They doing human testing and creating biologically enhanced super soldiers because they know they have a short time. And Moab they're thinking that they're gonna be the next to rule, But essentially they all in this together, at this moment. And then, in the end, everybody's gonna turn. They're gonna turn against Edom or Babylon the Great. But nevertheless, they come with that great wrath because they know they got a short time. So, Lord willing, those that are fine. Call Halo Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Shalom.